Hearing from both sides on an effort to amend the U.S. Constitution in the name of gender equality.
I think the time is right, and it's been long enough.
It conflates what it means to be same with what it means to be equal.
A proposal to ban texting while driving statewide, how one town enforces its own ordinance.
We believe that it's made it much safer on our roads.
And a look at one program helping build up Southern Arizona's skilled workforce.
Prior to graduation, they're seeing 2-3 job offers, coming in the door.
Hello and welcome to Arizona 360. I'm Lorraine Rivera. Thank you for joining us. This week we take a closer look at some of the early initiatives moving through the Arizona Legislature, from changing the rules of the road to funding for higher education. First, the renewed push in the state Senate to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment, which would be significant at the national level. The amendment provides protection from sex discrimination. Congress approved it nearly 50 years ago. Arizona would be the 38th state to ratify the ERA, putting it at the threshold needed to get it into the U.S. Constitution. State Senator Victoria Steele is optimistic about a concurrent resolution to ratify the ERA. We discussed her support for the measure. Let's begin with what the Equal Rights Amendment means to you.
That's the whole reason I'm just a little bit nervous to be here today, because it means everything to me. This is about equality for women. And we are on the cusp, we're right on the verge of ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment. And it means everything.
Why hasn't Arizona been able to get the votes it needs to move this forward?
I think there has just been this holdover from the 1980s when a large contingency of people said that it would destroy the family. And those considerations, those concerns took root, and it just kind of stalled it out. But all of those things that they were afraid would happen have either happened or been negated. And so those are not even part of the Equal Rights Amendment. It's 24 words. May I read it?
Sure.
May I read it? It's 24 words, the same 24 words that were introduced 96 years ago. Equality of rights under the law shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of sex. It doesn't talk about anything else in there.
The conservatives have said it's a bit broad. It's maybe too vague because it is only 24 words. Does that concern you?
Not at all. Not at all. This is, what this will do is it will require a stricter level of scrutiny in law. It will hold us up as equal to men in the Constitution.
There are people who are sitting at home and watching this and saying, women are equal to men. Arizona is a state with the most female governors. 40% of state lawmakers are female. There are CEOs and leaders in other agencies and organizations. What is wrong about the way Arizona has existed thus far?
We have made tremendous strides for women. We truly have. I mean, women are allowed to be in the military. Women are becoming CEOs. Women run for president. We don't have one yet. But we still have enormous pay inequity. We still have enormous gaps where women aren't equal. There are a lot of places where we're not equal. For instance, when it comes to pay, on average, a white woman makes 80% less, or 80% of what a white male makes for $1. And if you're Latina, you will make 54% of what a white male makes. And that's not equality.
Do you believe that if this amendment comes to fruition as you expect it to, that there will be someone who really marshals how exactly this is enforced? I mean, it's one thing to say it, pass it, but it's another to actually do it and implement it.
This is something that would be decided state by state as they go along, how they interpret it. Everything that happens, that every amendment gets interpreted. And that's why we have the Supreme Court justices. They get interpreted. There are people who will tell me and who will tell you that the 14th Amendment already protects our rights and gives us equality, but that's not true. If we didn't need equality, why did we, if the 14th Amendment was all it took to give women equality, why did it take the 19th Amendment for us to get the right to vote?
Paint a picture for me. How does life change should this go through?
I don't think you're going to see huge changes all at once. I think that, first of all, there will be a period of celebration that we can consider ourselves that. And then, as things happen, as laws change in states, then if someone is discriminated against, that's when it's going to count. If someone feels that they have been discriminated against, they'll be able to go to a court and know that they will be treated equally.
This is emotional for you. It's a
Yes.
subject that you hold near and dear to your heart.
It is.
The historical significance should Arizona become that 38th state.
If we are the 38th state, and I do believe that we have the opportunity to do that, I think the time is right, and it's been long enough. But if we do this, this goes down in the history books. Arizona goes down in the history books. And I would not want to be on the wrong side of history and have my grandchildren coming back to me and saying, "Grandma, you were in the legislature back then. Why did you not stand up for women's equality?" That I'm glad that I won't be on that part.
Okay, Senator Steele, thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
One of the most vocal critics of the Equal Rights Amendment in Arizona is the Center for Arizona Policy, a conservative lobbying group. Here to share some of the group's opposition to the measure is Brianna Johnson. She joins us from Phoenix via Skype. Brianna, thanks for your time.
Happy to be here.
Brianna, tell me, when you hear Equal Rights Amendment, what does that mean to you and to the Center for Arizona Policy?
Well, the Equal Rights Amendment really is an out-of-date amendment that is being proposed today. And there's a variety of different issues with it, but the main one is that it conflates what it means to be same with what it means to be equal. I am equal to my brother as protected by numerous laws standing today, but I'm not the same, nor do I want to be. Arizona is a great example of women who have already risen to the top. We currently have 2 sitting female United States senators. We have multiple female governors from the past and plenty of sitting and former female legislators. We don't need an equal rights amendment for women to already be successful.
One of the arguments the ERA supporters make is that this would help ensure that women are paid more closely to men. Is that one of the items that you would perhaps agree with?
Well, first off, obviously, I support equal pay for women. As a young female myself, equal pay is important, but equal pay is already the law for women. We're protected under the 14th Amendment. We're protected under multiple federal, state, and local statutes. And the notion that men and women are paid unequally for the same work today is simply untrue. There's a lot of different factors that go into a simple statistic, such as women make a lot of different decisions on education and in training. We typically work fewer hours, and we value a lot of different opportunities like working from home, taking time off, overcompensation. So to say that women are paid unequally to men is simply untrue. It's comparing apples to oranges.
Does the center have a policy when it comes to some of the concerns surrounding family values and issues?
Sure, absolutely does. The Center for Arizona Policy recognizes that the way that the ERA is written today could mean that, or could be interpreted that abortion would be enshrined in our United States Constitution. And that's an issue because any regulation or any of the common sense regulations that we already have could be rolled back because of this Equal Rights Amendment.
One of the arguments that I know that the center has stated in the past is that this law is quite vague. Is that something that you think it could be reasonable if perhaps the language was developed a bit more?
Well, the main problem is that the ERA uses the word sex. When this was introduced way back in the 70s and the 80s, that clearly meant male and female. In today's terms, that's a fluid word. It specifically means gender identity or sexual orientation. And that's an issue because you're opening the door to a wide variety of unintended consequences and drastic, far-reaching terms.
Are you suggesting that should the ERA go into effect and become law, then it would potentially create problems for gender bias?
Well, I'm saying that the ERA, should it pass, would eliminate any possible distinction between male and female. And that crosses a wide variety of different unintended consequences. As I said before, this ERA conflates what it means to be same with what it means to be equal. And that puts the privacy of women and children at risk in a variety of public accommodations, such as showers and domestic violence shelters, where women who have been abused and are incredibly vulnerable are then subject to those who could exploit the law.
There are people who perhaps don't quite pay as much attention to these issues like you and I do, and they may be at home wondering, what does this mean for me and my day-to-day life? What is your message to them?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, the ERA is completely unnecessary. Women are protected under the 14th Amendment, numerous other state, local, and federal laws. And it puts a lot of different things at risk. It puts our privacy at risk. It transfers power from the state to the federal government. It could enshrine abortion into our United States Constitution, and it puts privacy at risk for all public accommodations.
Okay, Brianna Johnson from the Center for Arizona Policy, thank you for your time today.
Thank you. Thank you.
After hearing from both sides of the Equal Rights Amendment, we now focus on the likelihood of the measure passing in Arizona. Arizona Public Media political reporter Christopher Conover joins us to explain some of the factors at play. Christopher, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
What's the likeliness of Arizona ratifying this?
It's probably pretty low. A bill was filed last year, very similar to this one, and it never even got a committee hearing. In the House is where it had started last year, and many of the sponsors in the Senate this year were House members last year, so they just moved it over to the Senate and refiled it. The person who really held it up last year was the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, Eddie Farnsworth. He also is now in the Senate and once again chair of the Judiciary Committee, this time in the Senate, which would hear this bill, so he could hold it up again.
Supporters will not like to hear what you just said. Is there any different momentum this time around?
It did look different initially in the Senate. They had enough co-sponsors of the bill to essentially get it passed. Generally, a co-sponsor will vote for a bill that their name is on. And then Tyler Pace, who is a freshman in the Senate, right after he signed on as a co-sponsor, about 6 days in, pulled his name off the bill, made a floor speech about it, and said he didn't think in its current form it solved the problem that he hoped it would do, so he was pulling off of it. He said there was no political coercion to do that, but now there are not enough co-sponsors to guarantee passage.
There's a perception that this is partisan. Is it?
It is not partisan. There are Republican women, Michelle Ugenti-Rita, Senator Michelle Ugenti-Rita, who is one of the big sponsors of this, as she was last year. There are many Republican women who are involved in trying to pass this, but you still need the votes.
What's the likeliness of this ending up in court?
If it were to pass, Arizona would become the 38th state to ratify it, which is enough to put it into the Constitution, except there's one problem. Congress said it had to be ratified by 1982. Obviously, we're long since past that deadline. So most likely that would go to court to see if, in fact, these extra states that had jumped on, including Nevada and Arizona, could put it in the Constitution so far after the deadline.
As you noted, this conversation isn't just happening in Arizona. There are national implications as well. Other states who are looking at the very same thing. Many
states are. And in 1982, it was just short of ratification. 35 had approved, 38 needed to approve, and it died. It didn't go anywhere. Then in 2017, Nevada ratified it, and a number of states were looking at ratifying, and now only one more state is needed. Could be Arizona, might not be.
Okay, Christopher, a lot to look forward to in the next couple months. Thanks for your reporting. This spring, Arizona legislators will once again take up a bill to create a statewide hands-free policy for drivers. More than 20 communities in Arizona currently ban the use of mobile devices while driving, like the town of Oro Valley. Its ordinance took effect 2 years ago. Since then, officers have issued more than 200 citations. We rode along with a traffic unit to see how they enforce the rule.
10-8 with 2 observers on board.
Officer Brian Kleinberg is out today in an unmarked police cruiser.
I will tell you, when the ordinance first went into effect and 6-8 months after, driving around in a marked police car was extremely easy to still find violations. However, now when I'm in a marked police car, not quite as easy to find them. I'm hoping that's because people are following the rules.
And his anonymity gives us a first-hand look at how often drivers use phones while on the roadways.
So I don't make a stop unless I'm 100% positive it's a cell phone.
And within a few minutes on Oracle Road, he's positive.
I did see it in her left hand. My name is Brian Kleinberg. I'm an officer with the Oro Valley Police Department. The reason I stopped you today is Oro Valley has a hands-free ordinance, which means no cell phones in your hand at all. It has to be hands-free.
The first offense is $50, or the officer can issue a warning.
I looked in the mirror and I saw she had it in her hand, and I could see the cord as well, and she wasn't looking at it at the time. It was just in her hand. So I gave her a warning for that. And she even showed me the GPS and that she was using a GPS and not texting or anything like that.
Our ride continues, and Kleinberg lets us in on his strategy.
I like sitting at lights and watching to see if I can see people on their devices as they drive around me.
Sure enough, he spots a driver for a local business.
They didn't tell you that there's a hands-free ordinance here?
No.
You're driving their vehicle?
No.
That is surprising.
For a trailer. 03.
Back on the road, he tells us why enforcing this ordinance is so important.
An average text message takes approximately 5 seconds to type out and send. And if that's 5 seconds that you're looking away from the road and you're traveling on Oracle Road at 50 miles per hour, you're traveling the distance of a football field or more without looking at the road. And as far as court-related purposes, it comes down to my word in court testifying that I saw them utilizing it.
Having worked as a traffic cop for more than 12 years, he knows what to look for.
When I'm following behind people, if they're slow to start from traffic lights, if I see that they're braking a lot even though there doesn't appear to be a reason to brake, or moving from one side of the lane to the other, definitely indicators that they might be on some type of electronic device, so I'll try to get up next to him and see if...
Within 30 minutes, he stopped 3
See,
vehicles.
like he's out of his lane a little bit there. Oh, and there we go, look at that. I make sure of that. This is a citation for a violation of the hands-free ordinance. It's an Oro Valley town code, so there's 2 different ways to take care of it.
Stops like this one, the department says, have made the community safer.
Driving is an attention to detail, and you have to be doing multiple things at once. Checking your mirrors, looking all around you, watching the vehicles in front, behind. And when you start utilizing your phone, that becomes your primary focus. So driving becomes a secondary focus to the phone use, and it's just a recipe for disaster, in my opinion.
Back at the police department, we speak with Daniel Sharp, the chief of police. He's helping spearhead efforts at the state capitol.
We haven't had a fatal crash in Oro Valley since the ordinance has taken effect, and so we certainly haven't done any kind of study or anything to say that, but anecdotally, we believe that it's made it much safer on our roads.
What's the ultimate goal for you if this ends up going to the state level?
Well, the ultimate goal for me is to have people put their phones down and attend to the job of driving the car. We're not saying you can't use your phone. We're just saying use it responsibly, use it hands-free. So we recognize that it's become part of the culture. It's very important. It's important for business. It's important for people doing their jobs and that sort of thing. So sure, it would be nice if people didn't have any distractions when they drove. But the ultimate goal is to make sure that people have their hands on the wheel, their eyes on the road, and then utilize the technology that does exist where you can use your phone while you're driving your vehicle and you don't have to have it in your hands.
How long have you been law enforcement now?
40 years.
In 40 years, and granted the advent of cell phones and texting, have you seen perhaps in the last 20 or so that this has really just taken on a whole new level of danger on the roadways?
It has taken on a new level of danger. It's one of those things that we're seeing crashes related to the distraction that's created by the phone. People have been driving distracted since the cars were invented. And there are a number of things that people see, and it's like, well, should we do away with all distractions? That would be nice, and all. And there are laws, like in the state of Washington, where you're not supposed to drive distracted, and they also have the hands-free. But since the advent of the cell phone, we've seen these increases in crashes and all. We were seeing a steady decline in fatalities nationally, and then that reversed a few years ago.
This winter, a distracted driver crashed into a Salt River police officer, hitting and killing him.
If you're distracted and you crash into somebody, you're responsible for that and all. And so is it really worth that kind of risk? Is it worth doing that? You take your eyes off the road, you look down, and the next thing you look up and there's a child in front of you on a bicycle or there's something going on. You know, that's a lifetime you're going to have to live with that action and all. And it's not safe. And I've heard people say, well, I drive better when I'm looking at my phone because I'm more careful. I heard that same argument about drunk driving in the late 70s and early 80s, and that didn't seem to fly. And we know studies have shown that you aren't safer, that you are endangering other people's lives. And so when somebody's saying, well, gee, I'm upset because I got stopped or I was reminded I shouldn't be doing that, it's like, you know, there are other people on the roadways that would like to be able to get where they're going without somebody running into them because they're distracted.
A couple of the people said, I didn't know, I just moved here. For you, this is about consistency?
Absolutely, it's about consistency. You know, it's really a fairness issue and it's a consistency issue. Drivers shouldn't have to figure out which jurisdiction they're in or what law applies and all that. That's the reason we have state statutes, and the state statutes should be the one thing that's what people have to worry about and know about. Plus, if it's on a statewide level, I think when people get their driver's licenses, when you have people move here and that sort of thing, we can have that people understand that in Arizona, it's not okay to have the phone in your hand.
Is it fair to say there are challenges with enforcing this ordinance?
There are challenges, but there's challenges, you know, enforcing a lot of different things. No, we just need to make sure that that people understand, you know, what the rules are, what the law is, and all, and then we enforce it equitably, fairly, and that sort of thing. We want to make sure that that people, if somebody just has a phone in their hand, you know, and they're not utilizing it, you know, I don't know a lot of people that just drive around holding their phone, but again, the officers are going to look for, you know, is it in use? Is the person, you know, doing something with it and that sort of thing? But ultimately, what we're looking for, like all laws, is we just want compliance. You know, if people all follow the rules and follow the laws and we don't have to write a ticket, it can't get any better than that. The whole idea of having laws and we enforce the laws is to change that driving behavior. And that's what ultimately, at the end of the day, we want people's behavior to change such that they're just not touching the phone.
Senate Bill 1165 is the current measure that would create a statewide ban on texting while driving. Fines would range from $75 to $250, and drivers could have their licenses suspended if they cause an accident. The measure is awaiting review from the Committee for Transportation and Public Safety. For the first time since 2015, the Arizona Legislature could approve funding for Pima Community College. 4 years ago, the state cut off aid to Pima and Maricopa community colleges. This year, Governor Ducey's proposed budget includes $20 million for PCC's Aviation Technology program. We learn more about the growing demand for this type of training.
Next.
Pima Community College's Aviation Technology program is about as old as the college itself, dating back nearly 50 years. Today, students can earn their associate degree in aviation technology or certifications in structural repair, airframe mechanics, and power plant mechanics, among others.
The average transport category airplane, which is what everybody flies on in the airlines, has literally millions of parts inside it. So to know what to diagnose when that plane doesn't work, there's a lot going on.
More than 130 students are currently enrolled, and there's a wait list. These students both expect to graduate this December.
My dad kind of had a passion for World War II planes, and he kind of shared it with me.
I've also had a passion for aviation. I mean, I can remember back as far as being a little kid, playing baseball, standing in the outfield watching airplanes fly over.
Yeah, so what I did was...
It's one of 2 programs in Arizona that gives students this type of hands-on experience.
It's a good kind of challenge where you actually feel good about yourself working hard and completing something, so.
Governor Ducey's proposed budget includes $20 million to help PCC grow the program, which would allow it to serve twice as many students within a few years.
It would give us another hangar space of about 15,000 square feet, 5 more classrooms that would double our head count, and then 5 lab spaces as well for those students to conduct their work here every day.
Academic Director Jason Bowersock says demand for this type of skilled labor has taken off in recent years.
Schoolhouses that do the exact same thing that we do nationwide, everybody's having a hard time keeping up with the growth of the industry, attrition from industry, trying to keep the students coming out and creating that talent supply chain. Prior to graduation, they're seeing 2-3 job offers, coming in the door, and they're literally coming in the door looking for the students.
Yeah, you're on there.
Bowersock describes southern Arizona as a hub for the aviation industry with plenty of opportunities in Tucson where they can start out making up to $20 an hour.
When they walk out our doors, a lot of them will walk across the street and go to work for Bombardier. They like to go down the street and work for Ascent. SkyWest is another great employer as a regional airline.
I came into this program pretty much dead set on one thing, of working on jet engines. And since I've been here, there's been so many doors that have been opened to me that now I'm really not even sure what I want to do.
Programs like aviation technology that supply local employers with a pipeline of skilled workers are part of a larger strategy that's paying off for PCC.
We take our role seriously when it comes to having an influence on the economic development of southern Arizona.
Greg Wilson is Dean of Applied Technology at the college.
So nationally, enrollments at community colleges are continuing to decline. I think this semester, I looked today at the numbers, we might be down 2%, but in the technical area that I represent, we were actually up 12% today over the same day a year ago.
Enrollment drops and a lack of funding from the state has led to restructuring at PCC, including cutting $15 million from its budget over 3 years. At the same time, the college focused on building stronger relationships with local industry leaders in manufacturing.
We know we're heading in the right direction.
Wilson says the college listens to their needs and uses that feedback when making decisions about curriculum, equipment purchases, and what qualifications instructors must meet.
And the bigger picture in that is not just supplying a prepared workforce for local industry, but hopefully other companies from across the country and beyond see that southern Arizona is a place to be.
The college will break ground on a new facility at its downtown campus next year, giving it the space and resources to double the number of students in applied technology fields. Meanwhile, preliminary plans to expand the aviation technology program hinge on the legislature's approval of the funding. But Wilson says the governor's interest confirms PCC is headed in the right direction.
But it also puts a spotlight on you, right? So the standard is up here, and we need to continue to work closely with industry and raise our game.
That's all for now. Thanks for joining us. To share your feedback, visit us on social media and let us know what you think. We'll see you next week.